we have federal government problems, and Matthew, you and I share the same state governor problem, which is that you and I are under the same orders, at least on paper, or someone's piece of paper or digital signature or whatever our governor signs things
Visible
on.
lines and all.
Visible lines. Yeah. So you have a reopen PA background, as everybody can see, which you have, you've been in charge of, I should say, you've been partly leading a movement to reopen PA. And what that brings to mind is, for Christians especially, but even just Americans, is like, at what point do we have, at what point is civil disobedience a good thing? Is it always okay? I mean, can we just always disobey the government? You and I both know, I'm not going to name any places here. So you and I both know places that are saying, we're just, like sheriffs and so forth, local government officials saying, we don't really like the governor. We're not going to enforce anything. So there's
Right.
a sense of nullification going on, but this is a Christian discussion as well. And so what do we do with the Christian morality of defying your governor? I mean, I've had conversations with people who are like, no, it's biblical to obey your government. Not in every case, but this doesn't seem like it's pushing it for them. What about you?
Yeah, I hear a lot of those arguments on Romans 13 and the tired old things that libertarians have had to, especially Christian libertarians, have had to deal with for a long time. There's a simple phrase that I like to bring up to people who have that very sentiment of, well, shouldn't we obey the government? Romans 13 teaches us that we're to submit to these authorities, and we're supposed to just shut up and listen. And I just have to say, okay, well, one, what and who is the ultimate authority of the land in this country? What we've agreed on, what we have chartered, who is the ultimate authority? And that is nebulously the people, but also our Constitution. And so when a governor or any other authority does not bend to those authorities, I believe it is the right and the ability of individuals within that government to stand up and say, you're not obeying God, governor. You're not doing what is necessary for good godly government. Your scales are out of balance. And so we need to, as individual Christians and those who support liberty, remind our civil servants, I'll just put that phrase out there, our civil servants, that they are under the authority of the people and the Constitution, not the people and the Constitution under the authority of the civil servants.
In other words, we have a responsibility to challenge. Like,
yes, absolutely.
It's part of the law. Like, one way I think about it is, I grew up in a pretty conservative, setting, and it was like, it was against God's moral law to disobey the speed limit.
House, so
what's that? Yes, that's true. Yeah. Well, I didn't grow up around here, but yeah, you could see. Yeah, okay. So side story there. Speed limit, right? I grew up being told that if you disobey the speed limit, you're disobeying God, because the government said you should drive 55, and if you drive 56 and up, then you were just willingly, or whatever, then you're disobeying. But when I began thinking about this as an adult, and I thought, wait a second, the law is written as such that the government actually has to evaluate its own laws on what the speed limit is based on what the people are actually driving. And there's laws that, like, every 2 years they have to survey a certain stretch of highway or whatever to make sure that the speed limit is actually keeping up with like what people are actually doing. So there, it's built into, in that particular law, it's built in that the people have a say in, we don't like this speed limit, and that is very quintessential American, in my opinion. And so to some extent, it is not like, it's not a defiance of Romans 13 for me to say this leader is not, sorry, I just said leader. My goodness, Matt, you're going to have to slap me. Our civil servants, the person who thinks they're in charge of me, it's not a defiance of Romans 13 to defy the governor. Is what I meant to say.
Can we just call them
Carrie? I'm sure you're defying your governor all the time. What's that?
Can we just call them wanton authoritarians?
There
wanton
you go.
Authoritarians. Oh yeah, that's great.
I love that. Yes, and I've been actively defying my governor. Actually, the thing that came up recently about this was a Facebook post that I was interacting with. A friend of mine who's a pastor and somebody who I have a great deal of respect for, and is against patriarchalism and pietism and things like that. And he was saying that, you know, even if Christians have a right to civil disobedience, that exercising civil disobedience is not an act of Christian love, and so it's immoral.
Whoa.
And yeah,
Wow.
he said man is lawless, and so we need the state. And you have to, which I pointed out the contradiction in that. But you know, I thought it was interesting because there was a ton of people who got on after that, and they were like, yeah, this, you know, if it's not an act of Christian love, then you can't do it. And I was just like, this is absurd.
They're saying that civil disobedience is in and of itself not an act of Christian love, or like there are actions that, unless they are acts of Christian love.
Civil disobedience in and of itself, like even beyond that, exercising your rights when it could be perceived by some as, you know, either against the law or you know, indirectly harming another person. So this was in the context of both fireworks and, I believe, the masks.
Please tell me you threw Henry David Thoreau in their faces.
No, I didn't even go that far. He sort of short-circuited and turned down and shut down the conversation. Wow. But well, you know, one of the things that I did, these people are opposed to abuse within the church, and I said, you know, you guys are opposed to abuse. Like, this is on the basis of rights.
Oh, my word.
Another pastor got on there and he's like, no, confronting your abuser is an act of love. And I said, okay.
Oh, really?
It's an assertion of rights. So, you know, these things aren't mutually exclusive. Maybe it is an act of love, but it is an assertion of your rights. And, you know, that was when they short circuited. But yeah, that's sort of the new thing that I'm seeing now.
That's remarkable, Carrie. I mean, like, that sort of behavior is precisely why, you know, like 12 now, it's almost 13 years. Is it 12? No, it's 12 years ago that I started libertarianchristians.com. Mm-hmm. It's because it's that sort of thing, that sort of cognitive dissonance amongst our fellow brothers and sisters is what we are ultimately fighting against
right
now.
Yeah.
I mean, if we have, I've said it many times, that if we accomplish anything as LCI at all in this world, if we can just raise the level of conversation to where stuff like that is recognized, then we will have accomplished a good thing. So, you know, kudos for standing up there and just letting them have it. Because that's the sort of stuff that needs to get, you know,
call us next time and we'll join you.
Crushed.
Note to self.
Well, and even if they didn't ultimately like get to the best conclusion from a conversation like that, if they can just realize how ridiculous the way that they're setting these assertions up together sound, like that would be a positive victory.
Yeah. Yeah.
But like, I'm stunned as you're just describing this. It's like that sort of cognitive dissonance is not recognized immediately. Like, I think, come on.
Yeah.
Carrie raised a level of conversation. Yeah.
Somebody said that Christianity isn't rights oriented, and I was just like,
really?
Like, what? Okay, thou shalt not steal. Like, why?
Yeah.
And you know,
even in the Levitical law, animals have a certain level of rights. I mean, huh?